The police siren wailed through the rain-soaked street as Officer Rohan Hale shouted a command he had never expected to be ignored, and in that frozen second, his canine partner did the unthinkable. The trained dog lunged away from the line, placing his powerful body between a trembling little girl and the chaos closing in around her, breaking years of discipline for a reason no one could yet see. The crowd gasped, the officers froze, and somewhere in that silence, a truth began to surface that would shake the entire city, but not before everything nearly went wrong. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us what truly matters, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel, Kind Vibes, to stay part of this growing family. It was supposed to be a routine crowd control operation after a tense evening protest had spilled into confusion. Officer Rohan Hale had served the city for 12 years and trusted his canine partner, a broad-chested German shepherd named Atlas, more than he trusted his own instincts. Atlas had been trained to obey commands instantly, to block threats, to hold lines. That night, however, the air felt different. Rain slicked the pavement, sirens echoed between buildings, and fear moved faster than reason. Rohan noticed a small figure near a toppled barricade, a little girl no older than 7, soaked and shaking, clutching a worn backpack far too big for her thin shoulders. Before Rohan could move toward her, the crowd surged again, and Atlas reacted in a way no one expected. Atlas broke formation. He ignored the sharp command meant to pull him back. Instead, he ran straight toward the child, standing over her with a low, protective stance as people stumbled past. Officers shouted. Bystanders filmed. To many watching, it looked like a dangerous breach of protocol. To Rohan, it felt like watching his world tilt off its axis. Atlas had never disobeyed, not once, yet there he was, placing himself between the girl and everything else, refusing to move even as commands echoed louder. As the situation escalated, Rohan forced his way through the confusion, heart pounding harder with every step. He saw Atlas glance back at him, not with defiance, but with urgency, as if begging him to understand something invisible. The little girl was crying silently, lips blue from cold, hands clenched around the backpack straps. When Rohan knelt, he noticed the faint tremor running through her body, not just from fear, but from something deeper. Atlas nudged the backpack gently with his nose, then looked back again, steady and insistent. Medical responders arrived, alerted by a growing sense that this was no longer just crowd control. When they carefully checked the girl, whose name turned out to be Amira Solis, they discovered she was severely hypoglycemic, her blood sugar dangerously low. She had wandered away from a temporary shelter hours earlier, disoriented and weak, collapsing near the barricade just as the unrest peaked. The backpack she carried held medical supplies and documents, including a worn hospital bracelet that explained everything Atlas seemed to know before any human did. The realization spread quickly. Atlas hadn't been reacting to the crowd. He had been reacting to Amira. The scent of distress, the subtle signs of medical emergency, the stillness beneath her fear, all of it had triggered something deeper than training. The dog had recognized a life slipping away. As paramedics stabilized Amira, the crowd grew quiet, phones lowering, anger dissolving into something else entirely. People who moments earlier had been shouting now watched in stunned silence as Atlas refused to leave her side until she was safely on the stretcher. News traveled fast. By morning, the footage was everywhere. Headlines questioned protocol, then shifted to praise. Experts weighed in, explaining how K9s can detect chemical changes in the human body, how Atlas likely sensed the crisis before it became fatal. But facts alone couldn't explain why a city felt so shaken. It wasn't just that a dog saved a child. It was that, in the middle of division and noise, an act of pure instinctive protection cut through everything. Officer Rohan Hale struggled in the days that followed. He faced internal reviews, formal reports, and difficult questions. Yet each night, he replayed the moment Atlas stood firm, seeing now that obedience without compassion would have cost a life. The department ultimately ruled Atlas's actions justified, even exemplary, updating training discussions to include the value of trust between handler and K9. More importantly, they reunited Atlas and Amira at the hospital, where the girl, now recovering, reached out with small hands that trembled no longer. Atlas lay beside her bed, calm and watchful, as if his job was finally complete. The city responded in its own way. Donations poured into shelters. Volunteers signed up in record numbers. People talked less about what divided them and more about what they had witnessed together. A police dog had reminded them that protection is not always about force, and courage sometimes means breaking a command to do what is right. As this story comes close to its end, if it touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Kind Vibes, so we can continue spreading stories that matter. And before the final moment, we ask you from the heart, please comment below and tell us what this story made you feel, because your voice keeps kindness alive. On a quiet afternoon weeks later, Officer Rohan Hale walked through the same street with Atlas at his side.